Welcome back. We're looking at Lesson 44 from A Course in Miracles today.
It's called God is the Light in Which I See.
Hmm.
And this one really encourages us to shift our perspective. You know how we usually look for understanding outside of ourselves?
Yeah, like looking for answers or validation from other people and the world around us.
Yeah, exactly. But this lesson, it wants us to stop doing that.
Okay, so turn inward.
Yeah, and really see that the light, that understanding we're searching for, it's already inside us.
It's not out there somewhere. It's within.
Exactly.
So before we go any further, let's hear what the lesson actually says.
Okay, sounds good.
The first part of Lesson 44 says, you cannot see in darkness and you cannot make light. You can make darkness and then think you see in it. But light reflects life and is therefore an aspect of creation. Creation and darkness cannot coexist, but light and life must go together, being but different aspects of creation.
You know, that's really interesting. That passage really highlights the connection between light, life, and creation.
Yeah, I see that.
It's like, it's saying that darkness, it isn't really a thing itself. It's more like the absence of light. And so often we create our own darkness
By doing what?
by holding on to fear and doubt, all those limiting beliefs. We make our own darkness.
Right. Okay, so what comes next? In order to see, one must recognize that light is within, not without. You do not see outside yourself, nor is the equipment for seeing outside. An essential part of this equipment is the light that makes seeing possible. It is with you always, making vision possible in every circumstance.
So it really challenges us to think differently about how we perceive things.
Okay, so how so?
Well, it's saying that seeing doesn't come from our physical eyes. It comes from an inner light that's always with us.
That reminds me of trying to meditate. It's like
Oh.
trying to quiet your mind and focus inward can be such a struggle.
Yeah.
Have you experienced that yourself?
Oh, absolutely. It's something I see a lot with people too. And actually the lesson talks about this too.
It does. What does it say?
Well, it calls the untrained mind undisciplined.
Okay.
And it says that this kind of practice, this looking inward, it can be really difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
And, it goes on to say, you may find that you will encounter strong resistance. The reason is very simple. While you practice in this form, you leave behind everything that you now believe and all the thoughts which you have made up. Properly speaking, this is the release from hell. Perceived through the ego's eyes, it is loss of identity and a descent into hell.
That's pretty intense. Release from hell.
Yeah, it is.
What do you think that means?
Well, to me, it sounds like it's saying that our ego, that sense of self we have, it's often built on fear and scarcity and this idea of being separate from everything else.
Right.
And so we cling to our beliefs, our possessions, our identities even.
Trying to protect ourselves.
Exactly, like the world's a dangerous place and we need to defend ourselves. But this clinging, it creates its own kind of prison. And when we practice letting go of those things we're clinging to, we start to free ourselves from that prison. But the ego, it sees that as a threat.
Like it's losing control.
Exactly. And that's why it feels like hell to the ego.
So the lesson saying true freedom comes from letting go of the ego's need to control and recognizing that inner light.
Right. And the lesson actually suggests a practice to help us do this. It recommends at least 3 practice periods a day,
Okay.
each one lasting between 3 and 5 minutes.
3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do during those periods?
Well, let me,
Yeah, let's hear what the lesson says.
okay.
It says, begin the practice period by repeating today's idea with your eyes open, and then close them slowly, repeating the idea several times more. Then try to sink into your mind, letting go every kind of interference and intrusion by quietly sinking past it. Your mind cannot be stopped in this unless you choose to stop it. It is merely taking its natural course. Try to observe your passing thoughts without involvement and slip quietly by them.
I think the way it's described, it really emphasizes approaching this practice with reverence.
Like it's something sacred.
Yeah, exactly. And recognizing how important it is. Like, it's really significant for our journey towards salvation.
Our journey towards salvation. Let's see what the lesson says about that. It says, while no particular form of approach is advocated, what is needful is a sense of the importance of what you are doing, its inestimable value to you, and an awareness that you are attempting something very holy. Salvation is your happiest accomplishment. It is also the only one that has any meaning, because it is the only one that has any use to you at all.
I love that. It's like it's redefining what salvation means.
How so?
It's not about, being saved by someone else after we die.
Mm.
It's about realizing our oneness with something greater, with the divine right now in this moment.
It's about recognizing our own inherent worth and value. But we
Exactly.
were talking about resistance earlier. How do we deal with that during this practice?
Right. Right?
What if we feel afraid or doubtful?
Well, the lesson actually gives us some guidance on that too.
Okay, good.
Let me
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
Okay. If resistance rises in any form, pause long enough to repeat today's idea, keeping your eyes closed unless you are aware of fear. In that case, you will probably find it more reassuring to open your eyes briefly. Try, however, to return to the exercises as soon as possible.
So it's okay to feel those things.
Yeah, those challenging emotions, they're a natural part of the process.
And the key is to acknowledge them without letting them take over.
Yeah, we can just gently guide ourselves back to the practice, trusting that inner light, it's always there.
Always there.
Mhm.
And the lesson goes on to describe what we might experience while doing this practice.
Oh, okay.
It says, if you are doing them correctly, you should experience some sense of relaxation and even a sense of approaching, if not actually entering into, light. Try to think of light, formless and without limit, as you pass by the thoughts of this world. And do not forget that they cannot hold you to the world unless you give them power to do so.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's pointing out that there are actual rewards to this practice. It's not all struggle.
So you might feel peace or relaxation.
Yeah, and even like we're moving towards light,
Mm.
it's like it's inviting us to shift our attention away from, all the limitations of the physical world.
And to connect with something bigger.
Exactly, that boundless nature of our true selves.
We have the power to choose what we focus on.
Right, and the lesson makes that really clear.
Our thoughts only have power over us if we believe them.
Mm-hmm. But, the real power of this lesson, I think, is in how practical it is.
Okay, so how do we actually apply this to our everyday lives?
Yeah, that's the question, isn't it? It's not just about these abstract concepts.
Right, it's about dealing with real challenges.
Exactly. So let's say you're at work and facing a tough deadline. You're feeling totally overwhelmed. What do you do?
Okay, yeah, I can see that happening.
Well, instead of getting caught up in all those thoughts and emotions, try this. Just pause for a second. Close your eyes. And remember the idea, God is the light in which I see.
Just that one idea.
Yeah, it's like taking a mental step back.
Reminding yourself that you're not defined by that situation.
Right, and that there's a source of peace and strength inside you.
And then what?
Well, from that place of inner peace, you can approach the situation differently.
You're calmer, more collected.
Exactly. You can think more clearly, communicate better. You might even find you can make decisions that are really aligned with what's best for you.
It's like we're tapping into a source of wisdom that's always there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And this idea of seeing with inner light can also be super helpful in those tough conversations we have with loved ones.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like when there's been the misunderstanding and you're feeling hurt or angry.
Right, exactly. It's easy to get defensive. But try this.
Okay.
Instead of reacting from that place of hurt, try approaching the conversation from a place of inner light.
So don't focus on being right or proving your point.
Yeah, let that go.
And instead, try to see the situation through a more compassionate lens.
It's about trying to see the light in the other person, too. Recognizing that they're also a reflection of something greater, even if their behavior isn't showing it at that moment.
So having that recognition, it can help us be more understanding.
Yeah, more forgiving, more loving.
It's choosing to respond from a place of love rather than fear,
And that can make such a huge difference.
and hopefully create space for healing and connection.
Yeah, exactly. So this practice, it's not just about our own personal transformation.
It's about transforming our relationships too.
Absolutely. And, it makes me think about parents and teachers. Anyone who works with kids.
How do we help them connect with their inner light?
That's a great question. Well, kids, they're naturally really open to this idea, but they need our help.
So how do we do that?
I think the most important thing is to model the behavior ourselves. Show them what it looks like to live from that place of inner peace.
Yeah, lead by example.
Exactly. When kids see us responding to challenges with grace and understanding, they're more likely to do the same.
Right. Create that safe and loving environment where they feel comfortable exploring their own inner world.
Mm-hmm. We can also encourage them to do things that help them connect with their inner light.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, meditation or mindfulness exercises, spending time in nature,
Just being in nature can be so grounding.
it really is. And those kinds of practices, they can be so beneficial for kids of all ages.
It helps them calm their minds, reduce stress.
Yeah, and as they get older, we can start to introduce them to the ideas from A Course in Miracles, help them understand how to apply those teachings in their own lives.
Empower them to trust their own inner wisdom.
Exactly. And, at the end of the lesson, it gives us a really simple instruction.
What's that?
It says to repeat the idea, God is the light in which I see throughout the day.
Okay.
And to not forget.
Don't forget.
Yeah, it's a gentle reminder to keep coming back to this idea, to really integrate it into our lives.
So it's not just about those few minutes of practice each day.
Right. It's about cultivating a whole new way of seeing the world, a new way of being in the world.
Carrying that inner light with us wherever we go.
Mm-hmm.
So the lesson offers this one specific practice. But are there other ways to connect with that inner light throughout the day?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just spending time in nature can be so grounding and restorative.
Yeah, taking a walk in the park, listening to the birds.
Exactly. Or feeling the warmth of the sun on your skin.
It's like hitting the reset button for your nervous system.
And for people who are more creative, things like painting, writing, playing music, those can also be great ways to tap into that inner light.
Expressing yourself authentically.
Yeah. And our relationships play a big role too. Connecting with people who uplift and inspire us, that's incredibly nourishing.
Like we're surrounding ourselves with a circle of light.
Exactly. But it's also important to be mindful of the energy we let into our space.
So if we're constantly surrounded by negativity, it can dim our own light.
Yeah, absolutely. It's important to set healthy boundaries. Choose to spend time with people who support our growth,
Sometimes that means distancing ourselves from relationships that aren't serving us anymore.
even if it's hard.
It's about putting our own well-being first.
Exactly. And as we cultivate that inner light, we naturally start to become beacons of light for others too.
Our actions start to reflect that inner peace and compassion.
Mm-hmm. And that has a ripple effect.
It touches everyone around us.
And even small acts of kindness can create a wave of positivity.
Yeah. So we were talking about being mindful of the energy we let into our space.
Yeah, it's so important to be around people who lift us up, who support us.
And this all goes back to that idea of true seeing coming from within.
Exactly. When we connect with that inner light, we can see everything more clearly. The world around us, the people in our lives.
And Lesson 44, it really emphasizes that.
Yeah.
It tells us to repeat that idea. God is the light in which I see all throughout the day.
And to not forget, it sounds simple, but it's powerful.
How do we actually make that part of our daily lives?
Well, repetition, that's key in A Course in Miracles. Repeating the idea over and over, it helps to shift our perception.
Like we're training our minds to see things differently.
Yeah, exactly. You can write it down, put it on your phone as a reminder, anything that helps you remember to come back to it.
Just bringing our attention back to that truth, even when things get busy.
Mm-hmm. And it's really helpful to connect this lesson back to the previous one, Lesson 43.
The one about vision being a gift from God.
Yeah, God is my strength. Vision is his gift. They really build on each other.
So in Lesson 43, we learned that true vision, it comes from something beyond our ego.
Right, and it lets us see past all the illusions the ego creates.
And then in Lesson 44, it's like we're taking that a step further. We're realizing that this vision, this light, it's not separate from us.
It's within us. We are that light.
Wow. So when we combine those two lessons, we start to understand that our true strength comes from aligning with that divine nature within.
Exactly. And from that place of strength, we can see the world through a lens of love and understanding.
It's not just about repeating the words, it's about living them, letting them guide our actions.
Like imagine you're at work and you're having a tough time with a colleague, you're feeling frustrated.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in those feelings.
Right. But before you react, take a breath and remember, God is the light in which I see.
Just that simple reminder.
It can shift your whole perspective and help you respond differently. Maybe with more patience, more understanding.
And it's the same at home too, right? Like if you're feeling overwhelmed by something.
Absolutely. Instead of spiraling into worry and anxiety, take a step back. Remember that your strength comes from God.
It can bring a sense of peace.
Yeah, and clarity. It allows you to approach the situation with a fresh perspective.
So the key takeaway here is that the light is always within us, even when things feel dark.
Mm-hmm. Always. Lesson 44, it's a powerful reminder of that. It shows us how to tap into that inner light and let it transform our lives.
It's about choosing to see the world and ourselves through a lens of love.
Exactly. And as we practice that, as we remember God is the light in which I see, we start to create ripples of that love and understanding that extend outwards.
It touches our relationships, our communities, the world around us.
Yeah. So as we wrap up our exploration of Lesson 44, let's carry that message with us. Let's see how it shapes our experiences today.
And may your journey be filled with peace and understanding.